This is the June 23rd meeting of the Board of Directors for Celebration Residential Owners Association. I don't know, do we have any owners' comments to start off the meeting? And Patrick, if you can let me know if you see any hands. No hands? No hands. Okay. All right, just I will kind of make an announcement before we get going. We have a couple of people absent tonight. We have a couple of people online, so we're going to kind of go back to the Zoom days, but we have plenty of help here in the room. So maybe not the same faces or names, but we will move on and be just as efficient. Can I verify, is Suzanne online or is Steve online?
Both.
They both are, okay.
Yes,
Hello. Hello, how are you? Okay, thank you for joining us. Can I verify that the meeting was properly noticed?
yes, it was.
Thank you. And I verify we have a quorum because we have 6 of us in the room, only 1 absence tonight. If you could rise so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. All right. I will call this meeting to order. Still no owner's comments, right, Patrick? No. Okay, very good. Do we have a motion to adopt our agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next item is to approve the minutes for the CROA board meeting from May 26th, the workshops for May 14th, and the workshop for May 21st. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any comments? Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, so moved. And that passes. Committee reports. Do we have any of our chair people here that would like to just make a discussion on any committee reports? Anyone online? No? And anyone in the room? Any discussion we need to have on any of the our committees? Jackson.
I do want to update you on the Recreation Committee very briefly, although you've got minutes from a meeting back in May. The Recreation Committee met last night in a workshop talking about Celebration Community Fields Complex. We're going to come to some of that discussion in item 4 tonight. So I'm going to save some of those comments there. But one of the interesting points that came out in that discussion was with respect to Lot D, as in dog. It was pointed out that about the maximum number of cars we can handle between the side parking and the parking lot and some overflow parking on the grass in Lot D is about 200 cars total, which is not a big number as we go forward. That's going to be problematic. And so as we talk about different possibilities with pickleball and other things, it's starting to, I think the Recreation Committee is going to come back to us with a fairly strong recommendation that we look at putting in some asphalt on part of Lot D for the time being and turn that into better parking, because as we all know, in the last 24, 48 hours, you don't want to be driving off-road in those areas because of the rain. So I just thought that was an interesting thing. I wanted to bring that up and just put it in our radar that we're going to have to start thinking about that in a practical way. And then we've got some other things we can get down to number 4, but they are working. It was a productive session to talk about the complex, how we deal with it, how we work with it, how we structure it, how we sign it.
Mm-hmm.
You want to add anything, Celia?
No, I think it was really a good workshop.
Yeah, it was really positive.
So just as a sidebar on that, I know we don't want to belabor it. I know we've had some earlier discussions about Lot D for parking, but it didn't assume asphalt. It assumed better preparation for parking. So I would just encourage the committee to look at whatever that might.
I would encourage everybody to drive down there right now and look at it after the last 2 days of rain. It's pretty scary.
So whether it's asphalt or some other configuration, there may be different.
Yeah, I don't know if asphalt's the right thing,
but parking that's not in mud.
Maybe we can get CCDD to pay for us.
It was,
Is that a motion? Is that a motion?
I'll play Brian tonight as well. We did build it on a swamp. So yes, it
Yeah,
is
there's
pretty
that.
much swampland out there, which we understand that
But
we
can
developed.
I say something?
Go right
I'm
ahead.
sorry. But like, one of the members, she had the whole schematics of when they do the events down there.
Mhm.
And they literally take up that whole lot D for parking.
Mhm.
And it was 100 on
Yeah.
lot D.
Yeah.
And the side parking along the roadway, they had parking where you would park diagonally, so it was 100 just on lot D, and then the rest in the road. And with our growing celebration facility, they need something there because there's no parking.
It's good they're thinking about
Yeah,
that. So
I'm
thank you.
glad.
Thank you for that.
It's good conversation.
Okay.
I'll just do a quick update from the RFP task force of the committee report, since I'm the liaison to that task force. All of the analysis reports for the RFP have been submitted. They've all been shared with our other board partners, with the CJC as well as CROA, so those have all been sent out for further review, and our next meeting is July 2nd, which we all are aware of. So, and that is an executive session, so with all of us. Okay, so RFP is definitely moving forward. Like I said, the analysis is all the analysis, pre-analysis is done. Now it's in the hands of the board. So we will move on.
Can I say something as a special events liaison?
If you would like to, yes.
JR, you and Amber blew it out of the park for the luau. Thank you. It was amazing. And your staff and all the staff that was there.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yes, and thank you. Yes, I completely agree. The entertainment was top notch. I'm not sure where you found them, but they were
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii, did you fly them in? Didn't see that in the budget, but top notch. So thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, no other committee reports, liaison reports from CCDD, Osceola County or Island Village? No?
Under
David.
liaison reports, but not one of those three,
Mhm.
two reports. One is I would request for the future that the Celebration Foundation be listed as a,
It should be
Uh,
listed on there. Can you
yeah,
make it
I know that
a-
that's a new initiative, so that's just a point. And second is I did have a long talk today with Kathleen
Mhm.
about and our discussion from last Friday or whenever it was about new member orientation sort of thing. We're going to be sitting down next week, schedule time, start to work on an outline. We're looking at, based on the desire of the board, next September, October for a soft rollout and see how it goes. And then
That would be good timing. with
and
the
knowing,
Island Village.
knowing that it'll look different 12 months from now than it does on month one.
Sure.
It's going to evolve. So
You had
that's
a
the,
comment, Jackson,
Yeah.
on the
No, just a
liaison?
different.
A different liaison?
Yeah.
Okay. You
Um,
did-
So Brian's not here tonight to talk about CCDD, but we do have Jack McLaughlin here, which is very exciting. Feels like old times. Welcome back. I just wanted to point out that CCDD is beginning the process of the incorporation study that's required under Florida statutes. It's a long process. It's governed primarily by CCDD, but Brian pointed this out in the email to us today, and I want to just say to the community, this will be a long-term discussion with an uncertain outcome. And I think CROA will have a hand in helping to facilitate those conversations. But to be clear, it's not our decision at this level. And so as CCDD begins the process with legal and with lobbying and with all of the requirements, it's a long, basically 2-year process to just get to the first steps. And Jack said to me before we started tonight something I didn't realize, which is we are the first community in Florida to be forced to this position because of our size and age. So again, Celebration is going to be the place where this stuff happens, and there's going to be a lot of scrutiny to that. And so I have great confidence that CCDD will move that ball forward, but I think we will inevitably find ourselves in that conversation and in that mix. So just something to keep your eyes on.
Thank you for updating that. I feel strongly that we have a nice partnership between CCDD and CROA, and that will help move it, help include us in that process. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so financial report. That would be you.
That would be me.
Yes.
So we are still running a little bit behind on our financials, primarily due to the migration of the information that was in the previous software package that CCMC was using. They changed it. And so, things kind of got, are kind of grinding back up to where they need to be. I did spend a lot of time last month looking at the income statement. I'm, confident that everything that we budgeted for is in there someplace. But we went from a 2-page report to that to like a 4 or 5-page report for that. And there's a lot of extra line items with no numbers next to them that I'm sure show up someplace on there. So I have questions that I'm preparing to send to Neil for him to send to corporate. I'd like a chart of accounts so I can try to put this in something that I can look at and say, oh, okay, that's what that is. I revamped a little bit Brian's executive thing to make it easier for me to understand. And with us we're going to be going, everybody know that? We're going to be going to 2 board meetings a month?
Yes.
Okay.
That is
So
public knowledge.
Brian and I had a conversation. And so with us now going to 2 board meetings a month and no more workshops, we're going to shoot for having the preliminary report, like the executive summary, done by the 2nd meeting of the month, sent to the board, sent to the finance committee, and then the 1st meeting of the following month, that's when we'll give it a real hard look and present it, so if anybody has any additional questions, we can get it all worked out. So, but just looking at the numbers on Brian's format for executive summary, nothing jumps out. There are some, I did look at some things and say, what's that? So again, I have questions, but so far so good. And we're clicking along. Hopefully we'll get, caught up.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. And I'm going to say, who is doing the management report? To move on to the next item.
I can do that.
Okay,
Neil wrote this, but I can certainly deliver it.
okay.
The summary about Island Village is that phase 1 was approved by TCC and 54 lots were platted for Mattamy to begin building. We're expecting the first sales in the 3rd quarter. They began their marketing efforts, including sponsorship of CJC lifestyle events. CROA, CJC, and Mattamy's legal counsel have finalized the service area agreement for Island Village. It was executed by the Diana on May 21st, executed by Mattamy Division Vice President on June 1st, and final execution by the CJC on June 4th. The document was recorded in Osceola County on June 7th and is now a legally binding dedicatory instrument. Pending documents for review.
Hold on, I think we had a question. Suzanne, I think we had a brief question on that.
Yeah, I posted this question, Susanna, in the Dropbox. When will the first payments be made under the platting and transfer of those deeds?
Yes, I did see the question and I did forward it. I don't have the answer right now, but when Neil is back in the office, at the very least, next week, we'll get it. We'll find out and let you know.
So as of this moment, nothing has been transferred into our accounts. Is that correct?
At this moment, I don't know if it has.
Have you seen anything, Sydney?
No. But I'm looking at April, so.
And that should be for the 54 platted lots.
Okay, so we can keep this on our to-do list and stay on top of it.
Yes, and it looks like the final sign off was in June, and the chart does say the first month of the following after it's been supplemental, so they may be going for the August payment, the 1st of August.
Yeah, what I want to make sure is that the master common area transfer agreement isn't the document that they're going to rely on to wait for payment.
Right.
In other words, there are 2 documents that we're dealing with. We've signed off on one.
Right.
There's another document that explicitly we were told did not hold this up, but I want to make sure that we're on the record that payment should be made. As I see the dates, it seems to me in July of 2021, they should be transferring the first payments to us. And so I'd like.
Yeah, that's what I meant, July, not August. Yeah.
You're
You're
right.
right.
Suzanne, can I also just add to that? If the payments aren't due on time, you can follow the same process that you would with any homeowner, sending the intent to lien and all those other steps. So like Susanna said, I think we'll keep a close eye on it and we'll take a look and give you guys an update early next week on where we are with those payments.
Yeah, I would think communication up front on that was probably a better, I'd rather communicate up front and make sure that they're aware of it than have to follow up and say, hey, you're late.
And
With a
It's
notice.
a clarification with the two different agreements. The master agreement is about that common area which has no homes,
Correct.
which would generate no dollars.
Correct.
So
There shouldn't be any dollars.
It's,
I'm just,
I know,
No,
I
it's
know
a very-
you know
no.
that, but it's just,
No, it's a very good point because I think once we get them up and running, then the payments come more regularly, but this first payment is something we need to make sure that it is, that we are on top of.
for all
Well,
planted.
I've received some emails from them asking for clarification on what's the capital contribution, what are the assessments, the trash. So I have been giving them the information, so it's on the radar.
Good.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. Thank you very
Yes.
much. Okay, you may continue with your management report.
Thank you. So I think what he goes on to talk about is the other supplemental that you've been talking about, which is the master common area one. And I've seen correspondence going on between their Mattamy Legal and Tom Slayton to kind of wrap that up so that they can put that in front of the board at some point.
Okay.
So that's where we are in Mattamy Homes.
Okay.
Okay. He moves on to talk about the lifestyle events. You know, all of us that attended the Aloha event saw what a great event that was, despite the weather, and how the team really and volunteers worked around to make that happen. Despite that, was just a lovely time. And they've begun, they've continued the programming into this quarter of 2021. The farmers market, the food truck Fridays, the Memorial Day flag ceremony, and the Aloha Luau Friday. Future planning includes a rescheduled 80s night, the band in conjunction with the 4th of July lifestyle events and summer camp. It has returned. I know that's been going on now. This is the second week. Founders Day 25th anniversary continues with planning and preparations. Fundraising efforts exceeded $53,000 towards the 25th anniversary marketing, with business partners contributing. That's been really great. Finally, the financial report.
Can I interject something
Yes,
while we're still on special events
yes.
or lifestyle? This isn't a CROA sponsored event, but when you're looking for something to do on 4th of July weekend, and I probably should have said this earlier, all the CROA events are on Saturday. But on Sunday at the Great Lawn, it is the great return of the Celebration Community Course at the stage there by the Jones Room, 7:00 p.m. They're going to do their patriotic program. I also think they're going to add another couple songs in there too. So it's free. You'll have to bring a lawn chair or something or a blanket to sit on, but we being of course affiliated people are very excited that the chorus is coming back. So, and they had, I want to say that they had like 36 people come. So, which is about typical for a 4th of July because people tend to travel. So Chris is very encouraged. They got about 6 new members. So we're off and running and we'll hopefully have a concert in around Christmas as well. So anyway, that's
Again,
Sunday,
nice to
4th.
see things getting back
Yeah.
to.
And the tent is going to still be up in case of rain.
Yeah. So
Okay, all right.
July 4th, 7:00, Great Lawn.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anything else on your management report, Susanna?
No, ma'am, Cindy covered it with the financials.
Okay, all right. Very good. Before we move on from the management report, we had a couple questions for Nikki earlier. Nikki, are you on? I think I saw you on. Are you unmuted?
Hey,
There you are.
I'm on mute.
Okay, now there you go. Did you see we had sent you a couple questions. I'll just include this in the management report since we really don't have a Parks and Rec. About checking IDs at the pool and what we have the park monitors doing.
Yes, ma'am. As far as checking IDs, park monitors are required to check CROA IDs. I saw the photos that you sent me in regards to the umbrellas. This is being addressed when there's inclement weather, just like yesterday when it happened. Safety is our #1 concern with our staff. So unfortunately, if it's pouring and the umbrellas are up and there's lightning in the area, I just need to ensure the staff are safe. So unfortunately with those photos, that's kind of what occurred with damage due to the weather. And then I saw your last question about the basketball courts nets being taken down. There was an issue with the back post that we're trying to address. We thought it was a temporary solution, but it's taken longer than we are expecting. Tim, I'm not sure if you want to chime in on this subject a little bit more, but we're reviewing different contractors, vendors to resolve this concern since it's a safety issue.
Okay, so the basketball courts were shut down for safety?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
posts that are held into the concrete, the anchors that come up and you bolt them to, they're all coming loose. The concrete's just chipping out underneath. So I've reached out to a couple vendors in town here just to see if we could use their machines to just lower the hoops down because they're too heavy and it's too dangerous for the staff to do that. I can't get a hold of everyone. Everyone's just too darn busy right now. I've reached out to a couple contractors waiting to hear back, and I've just reached out to another Parks and Rec guy that Nikki forwarded me their information to, and he's given me the information to a sports company that actually will do this. So I'm just waiting on their response.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
Question on that.
yeah.
When something like that happens, what sort of communication do you do on site as well as proactively to the larger community?
We put a message out through cell service.
And do you put a placard out there on site that says,
No, there
this
is
is closed for safety reasons?
We can do that.
I think
Yeah.
that's important. If
Yeah,
people
I
show
would
up and they don't
Flash,
know,
maybe.
why is this
Well, that's
closed? This
what-
makes no sense.
Because, Celia reported it was closed, and we didn't
Friday
know it was
Flash
closed, but if it's a
maybe
safety
also.
issue, we definitely want to not let anyone on, because you're saying that the goals themselves are not stable.
Yeah.
So just taking the nets down, it probably is going to keep people from playing out there.
No,
So,
there's no contract
yeah.
to do that.
And I know that's hard because it's not fenced in,
Mhm.
but you have to do something,
Yep.
and we'll have to
Yep.
alert security to make sure that they're
Yeah,
not.
we can
Or
put
even
caution-
taping it if
we
you
can
have to
put
close
caution
it.
tape up around the whole
Yeah, there you
thing
go.
or that,
Okay, that'll look, yeah, I know, not good. Okay, and then, okay, so we're good on that. On the umbrellas, I think they were there longer than, Nikki, just longer than just that day with the rainstorm. So just just make sure that the monitors are keeping a closer eye on that, so.
Well, and to that point, everybody knows it's going to rain. Because everybody turns on the TV in the morning and they say, at 2:00, there's going to be heavy showers. Well, either you don't put the umbrellas up that day, or maybe if the rain's expected at 2, maybe you go at noon and just take them down, then nobody's in any kind of danger and they don't get blown all over the place.
I think
And-
that, and I think that they do lower them. I'll kind of answer for Nikki, but I think the residents put them back up if it's,
Yeah.
sunny. So I understand that they can kind of plan, but if there is lightning, we don't want them
Well, of
out
course
there,
not,
so,
but I mean,
yeah.
it's usually, it's
Okay.
going to
I'm
rain.
gonna-
Great.
I'm gonna tie back really quick with the umbrellas. I brought up, I think it was about a month or two ago, requesting to look into possibly the core drill, to go ahead and look
Yep.
into that. Have we had any progress at all?
Yep, I've actually reached out to one of my contacts at Golden Oak. He's been he's the operations manager over there, and for Disney, he's been out in their property off in South Carolina and the one down in their fancy little island
Right.
they have down in the Bahamas. He was there, so I've reached out to him for
Okay.
his contacts for
Okay, cool.
umbrellas and drilling, and he's given me the exact contacts for the people that just do the drilling and all that. So I'm
Perfect.
getting
That
all
should-
that in.
That should help us with a lot of this as well.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you for bringing that back up. Okay. Anything else? I think that was it on the management report. I kind of jumped in with those other items.
Well,
for
I
safety
think maybe
issues.
this would fall under there because we're going to go into the action items and I know it doesn't fall into there.
Okay, what was the question?
But it has, and I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
Uh-oh.
So I went on a field trip with Celia last week and you know all about that. So I wanted to see on your checklist, because I look at your checklist that you do for the facilities and the parks and stuff like that. So the one that's included in this board packet is May 4th,
It's dated May 4th.
dated May, that's the date of the inspections. So then I went back and I thought, well, what do we have last month? So I went into last month's and those were dated April 20th. So I'm guessing, so my question is there a schedule for these? I mean, because if there has to have been one since May 4th,
Mhm.
I'm guessing. So I mean, do you usually try to do it around the middle of the month or
I
it's,
usually, when I was in service area, I'd go out and I had specific days for my routines.
right?
And I'm trying to do that in maintenance as well. So I'm
Okay.
just getting caught back up, just trying to
Okay.
make it smooth sailing.
And then I also, because one of the things that we noted was there was a lot of, in that one corner, there's a little picnic table and things.
Where,
cool,
what
yeah,
location are we at?
So we're at Lakeside,
Okay.
sorry. And if you're coming into the pool, in that corner, that far corner,
The
there's a
back
picnic table and a little
pavilion?
shelter and stuff. And there's an area where there hasn't probably been mulched there for years because it's like this deep.
Mhm.
And then also some dead plants. So I looked at your checks thing and it doesn't say anything about looking for plants, which normally you wouldn't have. And then I looked at the other one that had to do with the parks. And there's nothing on there that would direct somebody to actually go inside the pool enclosure to look at the plants in there.
Mhm.
So I was just thinking that, you know, you have to maybe somebody decide who's responsible. Is it the the landscapers or is it the operations people and make sure
So
that
you're
somebody
at-
looks at that?
So you're asking him to add that to the check?
Well, yeah, I don't know. And I don't know who's, you know, I'm thinking since it's plants and mulch and because
Oh,
there
yeah.
is mulch
That's something
on,
I would report back to the landscape.
Okay,
yeah, because there is mulch on one of the reports, but nothing about
Mhm.
plants.
okay.
Okay, and I think those were crotons,
So-
but they were like chopped
No,
off.
they
and-
were, I can't even say it right, so I'm not even going to.
Okay.
It's some sort of a lily, but those get attacked around this time of the year. It's at Lakeside and in North Village. These big grasshoppers just chew them up. I'm getting proposals I've already received the proposals to get those replaced.
Okay,
Okay.
but I didn't know whose responsibility it was.
Yep, that's mine.
But then the other thing is, and I kind of been waiting to see if this ever showed up. There's a fountain where I live. Do you know where I live?
Downey?
Now everybody's gonna be coming to my house. But that fountain has been broke for about a month.
Yep. I've been trying to get it, we're waiting on a sump pump for the main unit for inside where the doors are. I'm also getting those replaced. as
Because
well.
again, you know, I looked at the checklist and I
Mhm.
didn't see anything where it would have directed
Come up.
someone to look, and I figured since we have
So
this new
the-
fella on the way and stuff.
Good. So you're aware of it? and
Yep,
you
I
got
am. I'm
parts
trying
on
to reach
order?
out to
Okay.
Spees to get it, because in the inside of that, it needs to get resurfaced and
Okay.
all that. So.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Thank
And
you.
then trying to find tile to match that has also been difficult, because on the interior of
You
that
have to
fountain,
retile.
it's so corroded on the inside. I think we're gonna have to put new tile in there. So,
Okey dokey, Smokey.
but I'll make sure next time
Well-
the reports are better for you to read.
I'm sorry, I have more. But this whole field trip caused me to really
Yeah.
give these things a
I'm
hard look.
thinking that maybe on these type of items, it
Okay.
would be best to kind of, if you want to send them and copy
Okay.
the board and give him a
Okay.
chance, because I don't think that you're 100% prepared to respond to all these. And then
Probably
if
not.
you've got a whole
Well,
list,
but I
I
just
think
had
let's
questions.
move those
Yep.
to a different
You can just email them
format.
to me, and if I have the answers right
Okay.
off the top
Yeah.
of my head, I'll be
But
able to
copy
answer
the
them for
board
you.
so we know what's going on. since
Okay.
It's been brought by a board member.
Never
Okay.
mind.
Good?
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Let's move on to our action items. The first action item.
So I'd like to make a motion,
Oh, I'm sorry.
if I could.
Oh,
I'd like to put a consent agenda for action items 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
1, 2, 3.
Can we just do 1, 2, 3 together?
Yeah, let's
Just
do that
put
because
the like
they're
items
different
together.
topics.
Sure.
I would,
And then revisit.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
this-
so my motion is for consent
Thank you.
agenda for items 1, 2, and 3.
okay, and those are to appoint a member to the dog park committee, a member to the one new member to special events, and one new member to the Spring Lake Townhomes Committee. Do I have a second for that motion?
Yes.
Do I have a discussion?
I do. I didn't get any information on whoever's being proposed for the special events committee.
Mm,
Same person as dog park.
yes,
Yes.
Oh.
And then if you look at the application.
yes,
it's
Okay.
there's two X's on the one.
I saw that, but I
application.
thought she just picked one.
That's,
No
that was my question, if it was a different,
No,
okay.
Oh,
Same
okay.
person.
All right.
Thank you. It was confusing to me.
Okay.
I know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I tried to figure
Sorry.
out how to separate.
Sorry.
Yeah. That's okay. That's the answer we needed.
She's
Okay.
consolidating the board book for us.
Thank
That's
you. That's
one
one-
less
Yay!
page.
Good point, Kevin. All
I'm
right.
trying to consolidate the meeting for us.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other discussion
No
on
further
those?
discussion.
Any other discussion on those three items that they can together? Okay. So I'll go ahead and call the vote. Jackson,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes,
Celia,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Diana is yes. Motion passes for all those three first items. Action item number 4 is discuss the Celebration Field Complex resident security access. I will tell you that I drove out, was it yesterday? I was on a conference call. So I was driving while listening to a conference call and actually drove back there. I could get back there. The gates were open. Everything was fine. The one thing I did notice is there is a sign on the wall that says you can't use the fields unless you schedule it. Do you know what sign I'm talking about?
Yeah,
You know
they're
what-
actually, the Recreation Committee last night
Mhm.
talked about signage, and they will redo those signs
So you're
to
already a step ahead
reflect
of me.
the
Thank
new status.
Thank you very much.
Can I update a little bit on this?
Sure.
item?
Thank you for coming to the table,
Yeah,
Patrick.
we're gonna
So-
need Patrick here for
yeah,
a couple things.
Go ahead.
You'll recall that at our last workshop, we took a vote to open the fields,
We did.
just totally. And part of the reason that I voted for that was I wanted to get us off dead center. I wanted us to at least start talking about it. And once it's open, and it's been open 3 days, to everybody, now we have to start dealing with the consequences of it being open. Like, 2 examples. 1, you gotta have lights on at night, every night, because as long as that park is open, as long as that complex or field is open, you gotta have lights from a liability standpoint. You can't have
So-
people running around in the
So are
dark.
do we have the lights on at night?
Well, management is asking for that
Okay.
direction. And you've got to start thinking about bathroom access and security access. So the Recreation Committee, in conjunction with this board, asked Patrick to come up with some pricing. We talked about that at a couple of different levels. So I asked Patrick tonight, he presented a proposal to the Recreation Committee yesterday. And I've asked him to summarize the preferred proposal to the board tonight.
Okay, thank you, Jackson. So the proposal that we are hoping would be the direction that we should move forward in is to add essentially readers to the, what is it called? The building, the structure itself, to the restrooms.
Okay.
As well as around that building. There are some storage rooms that are there. There's a concession stand / kitchen that's there, and the meeting rooms directly across there as well. So a nice 8-panel reader panel would be the choice. It would allow you to add for the 2 restrooms, a couple of those storage rooms, the meeting rooms, the kitchen, and then some room to add another panel somewhere if needed. And that's at the very minimum to get that installed. I know there's still some conversation on what are we going to do at that access road walkway where someone would walk up there. I don't think we're at that point yet. I don't think we made a decision, only because we have that net that's there as well. So there's some things that we would have to also consider, which would be gate fabrication to see if there's something that would be strong enough to support a moving gate with some locks or up and down. We're not sure yet. But at the very least, if you wanted to take a step in the right direction, it would be adding an 8-panel reader. And that would run you somewhere around $12,000.
Okay, that's fine. How much would it run me?
A
12,000.
ballpark figure would be about $12,000. That 12,000 would take care of the panel itself, conduit, readers, the labor, wiring across the room and across.
So-
Can you
the fields.
explain what a reader is?
Is it just like at the
It's
pool?
just what you put your.
Card access.
So
your card
so
access.
so you can, for someone who's going to use the room, that's not open to all of us. It's open if it's designated for him, but not me, and her and not her.
Correct. You can set up different profiles for
For,
different
you're
uses.
okay on Mondays and I'm okay on Tuesdays because I've reserved it.
And this way, the
So it's a
vendor
smart
partners
reader.
would have the ability to get in, get their equipment, and keep their equipment safe.
Okay.
And you can store, and you can see who accessed it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if 5 people go into the men's room at different hours and then there's damage, we know that it's one of those 5 or whomever they let in.
Exactly.
You can see who's
Yeah.
in and out.
You should be able to see who, well,
Yeah.
you can see who swiped.
You can see who swiped.
So you don't necessarily, I mean, if one person swipes and 6 people go in.
Is that a different system from the rest of what we have in Celebration?
No. we
Because
can-
I understood it as, and I've asked this question, I think 2 years ago or so, where we don't know who was going in and out. We just know it's either green or red. It's the pass is good, you open. Pass is not good, you don't open. We don't know who it is.
We have reports. We can see down
Just,
to the card number with the photo ID attached to it. So we
And
do have.
for
that.
those, I believe Jackson and David were on the board at that time.
I don't
We
rem-
had an
I
issue
don't
at-
rem-
I don't
at
rem-
Lakeside.
I don't remember that.
I don't
specifically.
remember that.
I don't remember
Okay,
that.
well, that's good news.
Yeah.
But
I
boy, that's
had-
different. I didn't understand that.
That's the
So-
first
back
time I've
then.
heard that. So I
So when-
appreciate that. I'm happy to hear that,
Right.
but
so
So-
when I swiped
I'm
into the
surprised to hear.
pool, you can see it was my card and the card belongs to me and who it, and who it is.
Right, you
Okay.
always have two types of situations.
Same with
If-
dog park.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
if you're tracking a vicious dog that's been reported, you can say, well, here are the 8 people that came in the last 2 hours, or those cards came in.
Right, so you can track down. who's-
Right.
Okay,
If
So-
you're
and-
telling me that, I'm happy to hear
Okay,
it. It's just,
good.
I've asked
Okay,
that same
thank you.
question several times in the past and
okay.
everybody else didn't know that.
Yeah.
So thank you, Patrick.
Yes, we
Should've
can track you
should've went
from
to you.
a person level, so I can look up
person who
Kevin
runs the-
just to check where he's been if we suspect that.
I think we should
Kevin
definitely do
is-
that.
Yeah,
Is going to restrooms,
That's
you know,
it.
throwing toilet tissue. We can
that's it.
track.
And so
The other part of this, I'm sorry.
No, just to finish that up, like with the dog park, if someone has a vicious dog and they have been banned from that facility, you can deactivate the card just for the dog park.
Correct.
Yeah, because you have to have it activated just for the dog park, so yeah.
Yeah, and if
Okay.
it's tied to that dog, we can.
I mean, you can withdraw that
deactivate-
activation for the
Yes,
dog park.
okay.
We can
good to
also
know.
deactivate the other
Thank you.
Interesting.
users that have access to
Okay.
that dog.
So we have cameras
Right.
around the fields. It was pointed out in the Recreation Committee meeting that we have expensive equipment sitting out there. We have expensive fields. We have liability problems or potential liability with people tripping over, moving things, and that anybody coming out is problematic because we don't know what they're doing, but we want them to have access. So we need management in the form of park monitors or individuals from staff to be watching. I know, Patrick, you talked about you've got the cameras on and, so we've got some visual, but that we need to have a higher physical presence
Mhm.
of staff out there if we're going to be open from
Mhm.
7 a.m. till 10 p.m., 7 days a week.
We also talked about the security person from Lakeside circling to that. We didn't think it was going to be an issue, but we were getting with them. I don't know if there's
We're
anyone on
waiting
that
on-
can speak to that, whether that has been requested.
I don't know if Nikki's on
I
the
don't
call.
think
She
we
might be
brought
able
that
to.
up yesterday.
No, we brought this up at the last
No,
meeting.
I'm
That's
We
why-
brought it up the
last
last
meeting.
week.
Rec meeting.
It was for
Yeah.
management.
Hey, Jeff. Nikki, if
Yeah.
I could chime in.
Yeah.
So Neil and I did reach out to Share Group. We're just waiting on a quote in regards to having security monitor both Lakeside Park as well as the complex.
Okay.
So Greg is my point of contact with Share Group. We reached out to him last week after the workshop, so we're just waiting on a quote from him.
I would hope, I'll give you a goal of, I'd like to see that quote on the agenda for our next board meeting. So we can get moving on that, because we want to have that sooner than later. David,
I thought we had an understanding with the security company of
they could.
doing Lakeside and other locations. So this could be a location, and I wonder why there would need to be a quote. Because
So as far as
we thought it was going to be built into their current contract.
It depends on, there's two different factors that it could occur. It depends on if you want to use like a shared group car, or if the staff members would use their own cars and just have like a magnet attached to their vehicles. So that's kind of what they're in the process of quoting for us.
So how are they going to move from one?
Okay, how do they
location to
move
the
from one
other?
to the other?
That makes sense.
I thought that's what was in that last contract
what I thought
discussion, was
also.
that it was that ability to.
That's exactly what I thought.
Think
So
we-
we'll have to see it.
Yeah, I think we may have to leave this until we can get some more specifics, but obviously Neil and Nikki, you're working on it.
So my,
Yes, go ahead.
my suggestion is twofold. One, I'd like to see for our next board meeting in 2 weeks, a proposal on an action item for this security plan so we can get going. Failing that, I'm prepared to vote again and close down the access to the fields if we don't have the proper protection.
Mhm.
And I'm being really blunt here. 5 of us voted to open the fields. The 5 of us now need to get together with the rest of the board and pay for this so that it's safe. Otherwise, it's a really bad decision to have
Well,
these fields open.
I'm gonna back up for a minute because I think we're putting the cart before the horse here. As you mentioned, it opened 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Right? And it's been torrential downpours.
Yeah.
So
Right.
whatever
Nobody's used it.
crazy is over there, that's interesting. I think there's some solutions that we might be able to throw out there before jumping into crazy expenses, especially safety in mind.
Okay.
And because you're bringing up safety, I would actually recommend that we do this immediately, that either the lights stay on, which is an expense, or we turn around and recognize that we have other facilities that are only open dawn to dusk, and those are the published hours, and that's it. Right now, we are in summer. Dawn to dusk is plenty of daylight. And by the time winter rolls around, when the sunlight is a lot sooner, we can definitely have a plan in place.
What hours are we keeping it open now?
It's open till 10 p.m. When we have partner programs out there.
When you have programs out there.
But is there,
But
what,
as of-
if there's a night
when
we
we
don't
open-
have a program, what time are you closing it?
We just started.
It
I would
depends.
agree
When-
with the comment dawn to dusk.
Just on the
Whatever we
dusk,
do at Spring Lake,
Yeah.
you know, that area,
dawn to dusk.
that
Yeah.
mindset.
Because then that eliminates the need for lights, which is an expense unless we want to vote differently, but I think we're probably good. They probably don't need to, and then if there's a partner out there, they're open till 10, the lights are
And
on
they're
anyway.
paying. And that's
Yeah, we're
covering,
they're
Hey,
paying to
that's
be there.
exactly
that's the
it.
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's way different.
Okay, so at the next board meeting, we're gonna have the estimate for putting in the security panel, right? The 8 panel that you asked for, as well as the security drive-through, any additional expense or the restatement of the current contract as to what that's going to entail to get security out there as well. Okay, David, and then Celia. Sorry.
So with this weather, I recall last time or time before, there was a discussion about the grass fields being closed. So, right, for reseeding or refurbishing. So how are they physically closed so that nobody is using it? I mean, are they really closed? Is there good signage and do we have enforcement or can people play? And then the other piece is when we're looking at this in a couple of weeks and you get, Patrick, some quotes on this, also a timeline, when could that be installed? Because I think that if it's a 6-month delay versus a 2-week delay beyond that, that makes a difference.
The
It
vendor
does.
did mention, since you brought it up, that right now it's about a 1 month.
Okay,
timeframe
but that's
from
an important
install
part of the
date.
decision process.
That's not
So it's-
unreasonable.
That's not unreasonable.
It's definitely something that they can put on their radar literally tomorrow.
Right.
And then provide the quote and then.
Right,
just, you know,
got it.
Kind of move forward from there.
And then installation and testing and so forth.
Nikki, how are we closing the fields off so they can't get to them for reseeding? How is that happening?
Or even if they were
Right.
reseeded, so if they're drenched,
Yeah.
if they're
or-
just totally drenched, how do we
Yeah, or-
close it
or waterlogged.
to prevent further damage?
Yeah.
to
How
the
are you
asset?
closing them off?
Well, as of right now, we have caution tape that runs literally the entire field of field 1 and field 2 to prevent residents from accessing those 2 fields. But we're in the process of discussing in the workshop for the rec committee is how do we properly close if there's inclement weather, like the weather policy as well as flooding. So our next recreation workshop, that's what we're actually discussing.
Okay, very good.
Good.
And I think Jackson had already mentioned the signing
Good.
package that you're gonna work on. So I'm comfortable with all that. Any
Good.
other discussion on the security access? Celia?
So Patrick, just to clarify, at yesterday's meeting, we did away with the black gate access theory idea, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Which was less expensive?
No,
than-
it was more
It was
expensive
more expensive.
because we had to fabricate. So.
Okay.
You had to build a new gate, right?
So I just think, I like Kevin's ideas a lot with this. I think there are interim steps. I just want us to be cognizant that when we make this decision to open this access, there are implications to it. And we've got to, we really got to.
And that, I think that's one of the reasons we pushed it back to Parks and Rec and said, hell, help us think through this. Where do we need to go? What, how do we need management involved to make this happen for our residents? So, yes, Kevin.
2 follow-up items really quick. One, when the security contract or the proposal comes through, I would like that board packet to also include the current contract. I would like to have them both for comparison, if we're okay with that. And second, I guess a question for Nikki or JR or anybody is how do we get a little more proactive when it comes to the weather, when it comes to the umbrellas and the lightning, when it comes to the field closure to make sure they're done instead of the sky is opening and the thunder is happening and the lightning is going. How do we go ahead and get proactive? And I'll throw an idea out or something that I know other communities do, and then I'd like to hear what we do here. And I understand it's actually Disney and other communities, they use an app called WeatherBug. And WeatherBug gives you a predictive, the chances of lightning happening within the next 1 hour or so. And it's to get everybody out of the pool that's in that resort pool or whatever the case may be for their safety. Is that something that we use or have something similar that we can begin being proactive and start saying, hey, the alert is telling us, let's begin our lightning closure process, whatever you may call it. Do we have anything like that?
We do at the fields.
Yeah.
We put in that lightning,
We have that-
early warning lightning
Right.
monitor.
Right, for the people that are there, they hear it or.
Yes, which
but
was the first concern because they were the most vulnerable and exposed. So I can tell you that is there and it's working and it was working last night and
But apart from that, when it comes to, because I'm
I don't
just
think we
tying
got
this
it
to
anywhere else,
the
do we?
umbrella situation.
Yeah, I
other
mean,
items
they kick
that
you out of the
I've
pool
been
at the
hearing.
resorts
Yeah.
based on
Um,
that all the time.
And that
So,
might be something that management could look into as a tool that might help
Mm-hmm.
to be a little more proactive and save us a couple umbrellas. Who knows?
Nikki, are you familiar with that WeatherBug?
I actually am. During my lifeguard days, Kevin, I actually use WeatherBug myself. It's a pretty interesting app and it tells you how far the lightning strikes are away. The team does have that installed on our work phone, so I'll just have them be a little bit more proactive.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay. We're going to move on to number 5 unless there's any further comments on the fields. Nope. I think we've moved forward with I think that's really great because the fields will
Yeah,
now be
and thank-
available to our residents.
and I really want to thank Nikki and Patrick for working on this so quickly.
Yep. Yeah, we're moving ahead. We've kind of forced the issue and now we're moving ahead. Okay. Number 5 is a motion this is kind of 2 in 1, to be honest. The motion to approve the pickleball adult sports task force resolution. And thank you, Mr. Anderson, for helping us with that as well as our attorney. And then the second part of it is appoint up to 5 members to fill the task force. So do we have a motion? Let's take them separately. Do we have a motion to approve the task force resolution?
I'll make the motion for the purposes of discussion.
Okay, do we have a second to approve
I'll
the
second.
resolution? Kevin seconds that.
And now
Dis-
I'd like
discussion.
to make a suggestion or an amendment to this. The document, it's up there. One of the areas that we have been trying to figure out is how does the Recreation Committee and this new task force or task forces, how do they interact? And you'll see that item number 6 under the stipulations says that each task force shall work in conjunction with the Recreation Committee. I'd like to propose a slight amendment to this, which is that each task force shall work in conjunction with the Recreation Committee. The Recreation Committee shall appoint a liaison, non-voting member to each task force. Here's the rationale. That's the change. Here's the rationale. By having someone from the Recreation Committee in a liaison position with these task forces, we have the ability to communicate more effectively before the task force gets too far down the road. I'm looking at Kevin and David because I think we all know from the fields that what happened was that the people that wanted the fields got way ahead of those of us trying to figure out how to run them and operate them and build them. So by engaging the Recreation Committee this way, I think that helps. But the other part of it is that the Recreation Committee are not specialists in pickleball or croquet. That's not their area of expertise. So I'm not comfortable with trying to put a member of the Recreation Committee as a voting task force member into either of these task force. But as a liaison, I think it gives us the ability to start communicating with those two committees so that we don't have an ultimate clash where the Recreation Committee says no to something the task force is doing. Does that make sense?
Well,
Can you reread your proposed adjustment once more?
Could you reread
I'll
it?
reread it. I
Okay,
wrote
sorry.
it. The Recreation Committee shall appoint a liaison to the task forces as a non-voting member.
Yes.
In replacement of number 3.
No,
No,
I'm
we'll
sorry.
still
In-
have the
in
board
addition-
members.
As a-
Because I'm sitting here reading, I'm like, what?
as an
Yeah,
addition to
just-
Thank
number
you.
6.
Thank
Yeah, just to clarify, there will still be a board member or 2
Yeah.
liaison to this committee as well as a liaison from Parks and Rec.
Right.
I kind of like this because we get ahead of any issues and instead of kind of circling back and dealing with them later, you're
Yeah.
going to get ahead of them.
I don't want power struggles over this. I think if we get the groups together from the beginning,
Mhm.
it'll create a smoother process.
While I agree with the amendment, I think it's a great amendment, there still may be disagreement.
Oh, there may.
So the pickleball folks may end up saying, we.
It is not the kumbaya task force.
It's not necessarily going to be kumbaya. I mean, it may not end up that way.
Yeah, that may not solve all of
But,
it.
but your premise is to offset, so they don't get too far down the track.
I
That's it.
agree.
That's
And
it. And I think it's
one,
fine.
one sees things differently than the other,
Right.
you know, and I'm okay with that.
And
Kevin,
I
you were
also
talking
think
about-
that that allows the recreation committee to elect or select their own
Yeah.
member.
Yeah.
And it could, and it probably would be different members to liaise, is that the right word, liaise? With the two task forces.
This was already reviewed by Tom,
Yes, it was.
correct?
So
Actually,
it
it
has
was
been.
by,
Charlie.
it wasn't Tom, it was
Charlie.
Charlie,
Yeah.
so it has been reviewed.
It has
Any
been-
changes?
No.
so-
He did add something at the bottom,
Yeah.
number 11.
That they're,
Yeah, he added number 11 at the bottom.
Okay,
So it's been, yeah, it's been signed off by legal. So we could make that adjustment, which okay.
well, I guess that's, so I like it, and I'm not against that. I know that this is something that actually is already extremely delayed, right? This should have been done some time ago. And I don't want,
Could we make this approved, subject to
Yeah.
attorney
Yeah.
approval? Is that what you're
then
heading?
I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
I can't imagine he's gonna say no, but
But
let's
because
run
of
it
the
past.
process, we
Let's
Yeah,
always
no,
run
follow,
it past
they
him
always
just to
sign
make sure,
off.
so we don't have
Yeah,
any
yeah.
contention.
So if we could approve
So
it
could you
tonight,
restate your motion?
I move to approve this resolution as amended and subject to final approval from legal counsel.
I will second. I withdraw my prior second. You withdraw
and
your
we just,
prior motion.
I'm
and
struggling
we're
with
good.
how to word it, because it might be a different person for each of the two groups. But it's a liaison to the task forces.
We can wordsmith it a little
But-
bit
but
to
I-
get the
but let-
intent.
With
but-
legal,
Yeah, legal
Okay.
can,
they'll get their words together and we'll be
Okay.
fine.
Diana, can I add something really quick? I just
Yes.
want to remind the board that management can't write resolutions because it would be acting as an attorney or law, but the board can write resolutions, or the attorney can. I mean,
We
it's a
did.
perfectly good practice if you want to run it back by them, but you don't have to.
No, and I think what has happened is we have learned as a community that has not been as successful as it could have been if we go ahead and do not run it by the council, moving
mean-
forward. We certainly can.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do some things that you probably don't want me to do, but I can do them. I would,
I think
and
this
we've
is a
had this
pro forma, I think
conversation
this is a
before.
pro forma thing. We can get it knocked out
That's fine.
tomorrow
Just-
morning.
That's
Just
fine.
to make
I
everyone.
know
They'll be
there's energy to move on this. I know we want to vote.
Call
on
the question.
numbers. So, yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna do that with the addition of the liaison from the Parks and Rec. We have a motion, we have a second. Jackson,
Yes.
yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Celia?
Yes.
Kevin?
yes.
And I'm a yes as well. Motion passes. This is to, now as a separate, as still part of, I guess this is 5B. We have had, the task force has up to 5 members and we have 8 applications.
And
Do
we're
we have a
only
motion?
talking about pickleball right now.
We are talking about the pickleball task force.
And I have a
Yes.
motion.
Please make your motion.
I move to accept candidates number 1, 3, 4, 7, and 8, with our gratitude to the other candidates for applying.
I'll second it.
Okay, for discussion. And those are, of course, we don't discuss candidates' names as confidentiality for the people who have applied, but I'm very happy we have 8 people who are interested in this. And I think the people or the candidates that you just named all have experience in understanding of pickleball. So, yes.
So I'm not going to make a counter motion, but I would agree with 4 of the 5.
Okay.
And I would substitute number 6 for number 4. If I were to have made the motion before you did.
Number 6 was not
It was not in the original motion.
Jackson
My
mentioned
motion
1,
was
3,
1, 3,
4.
4,
7,
7, and 8.
So for that reason, I would vote against that because I would prefer a slate of 1, 3, 6, 7, 8. That's, I mean, I know,
So 6 and 4 would just switch.
I mean, we
Do
can
we have a,
approve,
do we have a second on your
We-
motion?
we did.
Yes, we do.
Celia did
Okay.
second.
So for discussion,
I would
think we
vote
should
to
just
approve.
vote- I think we should come to a vote on my
yeah, I think we
motion.
need, we need to take one motion at a
Or if there's a counter motion like 1, 3, 7, and 8, we can agree on that.
Okay,
I mean, no.
No,
Well, I'm
I-
gonna
Well, that
really
would-
throw it in because I'm gonna say two. So,
All right.
well, look at, yeah, and keeping in mind people that have pickleball experience
Yeah,
is that is kind of the criteria that I believe is important for selecting these task force members. Okay, so between those, the motion and the counter motion, the ones that are the same are 1, 3, 7, and 8, and that would fill 4 spots, and then that would leave 1 remaining. Do we have a second on the counter motion?
Well, I don't know if we can make a counter motion while we have a motion on the
No, we have
floor.
to do the original.
I'm trying to
motion.
do it in a friendly, I'm trying to do it in a friendly way. Sorry to be parliamentary.
No, that's
No,
fine.
it's okay.
I'll
Yeah, no,
withdraw-
you're getting
I'll
there.
withdraw my motion and restate it as a motion to approve candidates 1, 3, 7, and 8.
And
Do we have a
Celia
second?
previously seconded that.
Would you like to second the
That's
1,
fine.
3,
But if she
7,
won't-
and 8?
One,
Well,
three,
so
se-
far
That's
only
4, and then
So
we have
We
to,
still have to find a.
We're
fifth.
going through a
have to find a
two-step
fifth.
motion process.
oh,
because
I don't like that. I think that has politics written all over it, and I don't like it. I think we need to have 5 altogether.
We're gonna end up
well,
with 5.
I think what they're saying is of the 2, the motion and David's comment of those, there are 4 of those applications that were in on both of those. They would both,
Are you okay with 1, 3, 7, and 8, Kevin? That's really the question.
yeah, that's the question.
I think it's the end game that I'm looking at, and I'm trying to have a way to recognize and rationale. I understand pickleball experience.
Yeah.
I also recognize how many of these are on more than one committee.
Yeah.
That's something that I am looking at.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to see
Oh, that's
that we
true.
are not exceeding the 2 that we have been trying to practice. So that's
not
where
all
I'm
trying
saying
to
I don't know
practice,
if we
that's our law,
can.
that's our bylaws.
It's our bylaws.
Yeah, that's not just.
So
yeah.
that's the updated. You're right.
Does
Have
that,
we,
that's-
have we
I don't
checked
know the
all of
answer.
these names against
Do you know
that
if we-
to
I have familiar
Susanna?
names.
I double checked
Okay.
today, and out of all 8, only 2 or 3 of them were in another committee.
just
Or-
1 or 2?
No, 2 or 3 of the, were only in one other committee.
None of them were
So no
already
one
in 2
violates
other
the
committees.
2 committee rule.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's
They're
what
all in just
Okay.
one. So
Committee include task force or no? What did we decide?
I think it does include
Yeah.
task force.
It does,
Well,
because
is a
that-
candidate number 1 on a committee and a task force
Don't
know.
right now?
That's what I thought.
Task force.
The RFP task force?
No, he's
No,
not.
no,
He's not?
No,
No.
he is not.
No.
Okay, then
No.
my
I was
mistake.
gonna say, that's okay. I just
No.
wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Oh, not until recently. Was that a
Huh?
recent drop off?
No,
No,
no.
1 has never been on the RFP task force.
Mm-mm.
I've been on it since the beginning and I'm 100%
Does one know
sure
that
of
they
it.
weren't on the test force?
Whoa, okay, well, that's a little high.
Let's move on. Okay, so we have a motion and we're waiting for a second on candidates
I'll
1, 3,
second it.
7,
I'll
and 8.
second to move it to discussion.
Okay, so what that would do, we would place 4 people on the committee and then we would have to vote for the 5th since there's not a unanimous
Right.
agreement on that 5th person.
We'll come back to number
Right.
5,
Okay,
not item.
so I have a motion. Any other discussion before I call the vote on 1, 3, 7, and 8?
1378, who, I would just like to know who specifically, if management or somebody else could advise us, which ones are currently on 1 or 2. It's only 1 apparently.
Number 1 is on 1 committee.
Okay.
Number 2 is on 1 committee.
But that's not someone we're voting on.
No,
but I'm
no, he's just
as
asking on
we
the
look
whole
at the full
list.
picture.
Number 3, I don't believe is on any committees. Number 4, I'm not aware of. No committees. Number 5, no committees. Number 6, no committees. Number 7, and number 8. I don't, okay, there you go. So just 2 of them are on other committees and they're just on 1.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I'm glad you asked that because that is important that we are enforcing that, which I don't think we really did before, or we weren't aware of it. Okay, I'm going to call the vote on 1, 3, 7, and 8. Jackson,
Yes.
David,
Yes,
Cindy,
Yes.
Celia,
Yes.
Kevin.
I'm an A.
Okay, and I am a yes. So that motion passes. So now we have 1 opening left and the candidates that are available for that are candidate number 2, candidate number 5,
4.
4,
4, I'm sorry,
2, 4, 5, 6.
2, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Do I have a motion?
No, wait, it's not 6, is it?
Mhm.
Because we've
Yeah,
already
okay.
taken 1, 3, 7, and 8.
I'll motion for number 6. I know Jackson's going to motion for number 4.
Do we have a second for candidate number 6? No? Okay, then that motion will die. Sorry, David. Correct?
Okay.
I move to appoint candidate number 4.
Okay, do we have a second for candidate number 4?
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, I will call the vote. There's no discussion. Let's go around the table the other way. Kevin,
Good.
let's be different.
Nay.
Okay? Celia,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
David,
Go on to Jackson.
Oh, I didn't know you could do
What was the
that.
point of
Yeah.
going the other
No,
direction?
just,
Okay,
just
fine.
I'm going to do another.
Jackson?
I'll vote yes.
Okay, so Jackson is yes. David,
Yes.
okay, and I'm a nay. So there we go.
You're
So
a yes or no?
I'm a no. Okay. Okay, there we go. So we do have candidate number 4 is, so we have candidates 1, 3, 7, 8, and 4 have been appointed. And I would ask that management please contact them and let them know, and congratulate them and appreciate them for offering their
them.
time.
Let
All
me
of
be
them.
clear.
All of
1,
them.
3, 4.
7 and 8.
Yeah, I did them out of order. I did 1,
Your
3, 7,
original
8,
slate.
4. Sorry. Okay.
It's all about the-
All right.
it's all about the process.
Complicated process, but I
I'm
appreciate
trying to
that.
stretch the meeting
And-
out.
Let me just take a moment and say, I am thrilled that when we take the call for committee members, that we have more people wanting to participate than what are actually available. And I think that's a fabulous thing. So everyone who put in their application, I really appreciate
It's the
that.
way of the future.
It is. And we haven't had that in a long time where we've been
It's nice.
searching for volunteers and now we're getting a lot. So I really appreciate that.
So
Cindy.
now, these meetings are all public meetings that they have?
For which,
Yeah.
yes,
So the people that didn't get selected
Are-
are more than welcome to
Yeah.
join. in the
Anyone can
meeting
show
that
up.
is a very good point. Cindy.
So-
Yep,
for
thank
saying
you.
that. Yeah, that's a very good point. Okay. All right, we have moved forward. Now we are on action item number 6.
Now, I'd like to make a motion for the consent agenda for items 6, 7, 8, and 9.
Do we have a second to combine?
I'll second that.
All right, very good. So do we have any discussion? I assume you're making a motion to approve 6, 7, 8,
That's a
and 9.
consent agenda, yes.
Yes, okay. Any questions or concerns? Cindy?
8.
Mhm.
You want to pull it? The only discussion here is if you want to pull it from the consent agenda.
Do you
We-
want-
Oh,
keep
yeah,
them
I would
individually.
like to
Huh?
I
because
mean,
We could,
I just never understand because we waste all the time voting to combine them, to just talk about not combining them, to go back and just keep it moving.
I was trying.
I know. Well, all right. Do
How
we
about
want to
6?
just not combine them and then move forward? Do you want
Well,
to
I
withdraw
got
your
a motion
motion?
out there for the consent agenda. You need to take the vote. It's a
Wow.
simple motion and there's no
Yes.
discussion. So that's the reality.
Okay.
If a
So we
board
need
member
to-
wants to pull
Yes.
an item from the consent agenda, they can say so. And typically, out of decorum,
Courtesy,
we would
yeah.
pull it. So if Cindy
any-
wants to pull item 8, we can
do.
pull it.
I agree when there's many.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
we're only talking about
So
3
number
and we're gonna
8,
pull one.
we have been asked to pull the other ones. Okay, so who would like to, so we need to vote on 6, 7, and 9 to approve them and consent agenda. Jackson,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Cindy,
yes.
Celia,
Yes.
Kevin,
No.
and Diana is a yes. So 6, 7, and 9 are approved. Okay, number 8 is a motion to approve the partial replacement of the Longmeadow Arbor by CN Prestige in the amount of $12,250, which is a CROA replacement reserve. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second? I'll second it for discussion. Okay, and Cindy, you had a question on that, so I'll go to you. 'cause I know
Well,
you had a
yeah,
question.
I mean, I want, it goes from 12,250 to 45,000 to 52,000.
Well, we're only approving the 12,250.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, why,
Why would it go that
why,
way?
what are we not doing that maybe the other 2 companies think we should be doing?
I don't understand either. When I contacted CN Prestige, I asked them that, he gave me his original quote and it was really low. And I was like, are you sure you're understanding the scope of work? And then he came back out and said, oh, I've missed the, so if you go out to that pergola, it's
Mhm.
everything but the cement columns. So it's everything up above the columns that's being replaced. So he forgot the tie logs around the bottom on top of the column. So he added that in and he said he's comfortable at that price to do all that work.
It's the
It
same.
looks like it's the same scope of work in all these proposals. I mean, I
Nope.
don't see anything different in their
Nope.
proposal.
Right,
Right?
right.
and you've used this company before and you're
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with them.
Yeah, they did a lot of the, what about 2-3 years, when I was a maintenance lead before, when Todd Haskett was still here, CN Prestige rebuilt a lot of the pavilions down at Lakeside.
Okay.
Yep.
Did they do the pavilion in Artisan
They also,
or was that
no,
Vice?
no, that was Highmark
Okay.
who rebuilt that, but CNN Prestige also redid the cedar shake roof out at Aquila Loop Pavilion as well.
And you're not proposing cedar.
Nope, I got prices for
I
cedar.
saw that. I saw
And I
that.
didn't even want, yeah.
Okay,
yep,
okay,
yep,
just to clarify.
Yep. Yep, this is all just PT, which is
Got it.
pressure treated.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
When I was just kind of glancing at this, before I got here, it looked to me like Prestige is just going to replace the roof and paint. Where everybody else, to me, it sounds like they're tearing the whole thing down and almost building a new one. I mean, this guy at CNN
you're right.
is even using the old nails and, I mean,
Yeah.
there's, I
One says replacing a pergola, and I don't know the true definition, but I believe a pergola is the entire structure, whereas the others are naming a roof.
It
and
doesn't have a roof, it's all open.
Well,
Right.
the top piece, but yeah, they call it a roof, so.
even the reserve study that you put in here said that they were estimating at a 42,000. Something's, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Well,
And
I went back to him multiple times and that's when he came back out and that
Mm-hmm.
it went up, but he said he feels comfortable under, exactly what Jackson just said. He read his stuff word for the other ones and it's all the same scope of work.
Well, what do you have? The columns are concrete. What else do you have?
It's all
Just
just
the
wood
roof.
up above that.
So a roof is a roof.
Are those truly concrete?
Yep, yep.
Okay. Gonna call the vote. Little worried about this one.
I am too.
Well, you know, what we can do, what we'll do is before we start, we'll walk the site and the project with Charlie, you know, and review what the work's gonna entail. I mean, even though Tim's already done that, we'll do it again right before as a pre-construction walk. And then, you know, if we have any concerns, we'll bring it back to the board.
Okay.
Yeah, but I asked him 3 times, are you sure are you looking at everything right and all that? And
I think this is one of those things where we have to trust management. I mean,
Absolutely.
Tim's
Okay.
done this. It sounds like he's got his ducks in a
Alright.
row.
And you've double checked it, so
All right, I'll call the vote. Jackson,
Yes.
David,
yes.
Cindy,
Nope.
Celia.
They're gonna reuse the existing hardware, like,
If it's still in good condition, it says replace if needed. It says they'll reuse it, but they'll replace if
it
needed.
says reuse existing hardware to secure.
It's those
in
big metal
place.
braces.
yeah, they're not like, it's not nails or anything, like you can't reuse a nail.
Am I looking on the same thing? Yeah.
Look at the pictures.
CN Prestige.
But then it says supply and install new hardware where needed, the next bullet point. Okay. Yes or no?
Yes.
Kevin?
I will be a yes based on management's recommendation.
Okay, I'll support management as well. We're going for it. I'm a yes as well. All right. We've already done number 9, number 10, a motion to initiate the finding process on 15 non-compliance items through the notification of the covenants committee meeting to approve, reject the fine.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, any questions or concerns?
Just want to throw out, I sent an email earlier. I believe it's item number 21. We don't need to discuss the topic. I just want to make sure the entire board did see that
The
email.
old 21, right?
I'm
So-
sorry, yes, the old 21.
Old
So is it
21, the
new-
new
New
14.
14. Thank you.
14?
Yeah,
And I haven't heard back from management if that should,
I think we need to get with Jessica. Jessica's on vacation this week, right?
She will be back on Tuesday.
Yes. So I think Jessica's probably the person to follow up with. I know you sent it back to
Right.
Susanna, so you could follow up on that one as well, because I think that has been outstanding for a little bit, and we need to find out what's going on. Just in fairness. Okay,
Yeah.
motion, I'm just gonna call all in favor on this one.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, that one is good. Motion to approve 4 resident fee waiver requests.
So moved.
Do I have a second
I'll second.
for discussion? Any discussion?
if I'm reading these
Yeah.
fee waiver requests correctly, numbers 2, 3, and 4 are supported by management, but number 1 was not supported by management.
Yes.
Correct.
So with that reason, I would not vote yes on
I'm
this.
sorry, you're right.
Would we like to
Oh.
would we like to restate the motion?
2, 3, and 4 were all,
And they fit within
Yeah.
the
yes.
The guide-
permitted
okay,
number.
our
Yes.
I would
standards.
modify my motion.
Okay, and I'm sorry, who seconded it? Was that-
If I seconded it,
Yeah.
Go for
I
it.
don't,
Okay,
I
I don't
don't-
remember.
It
who-
was Cindy.
Cindy,
Oh.
would you like to
Oh, it was
modify
Cindy?
that to approve 2,
I
3, and
will.
4?
Yep.
Okay, I'll call the vote. Jackson,
Yes.
David.
yes.
Cindy.
Yes.
Celia,
Yes.
Kevin.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. The motion is approved. Okay,
So we don't have to do any action on item 1,
because it
which
was not approved.
basically 100% supporting management.
Yes, which we should on the, in there following our
Thank you.
guidelines.
Thank you. And following
Okay.
our guidelines.
Yeah.
We
Thank
have
you.
now moved on. It is now 7:12.
I'm
Wow.
sorry.
Good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's
You
see
have a
how we
question?
can stretch it.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. Going back really quick to number 3. Am I missing something? It was recommended to be waived.
Yes.
There's 2 that are late within the past 5 years. Is that 2 plus the one we're currently waiving? Or is that,
But that was late, not waivers. They would just.
oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Boom.
All right.
There we go. Thank you.
That's okay.
Okay.
Then clarify. It's all right. We're good. Okay. Board comments. Let me start because I have a comment to make and then I'll open it up to the rest of you. Just a comment that I think all of our board members have been contacted by a local group who has come together and they are attempting to reopen the Celebration Theater that's currently the ANC Theater. They have asked for us as a board to endorse their project. And while we as a CROA board are enthusiastic about getting that theater reopened and getting any tenants into downtown and Lexington filled that we possibly could, unfortunately, to endorse a business or endorse a group with that as their project is it's really outside our purview and really something that we can't do. But I wish them the best of luck. I think they've got a lot of support out there, which, as I said, reopening the theater, which has been closed for a long time, would definitely be positive for town. I certainly wish them luck, but for us as a board, that's outside of our ability to endorse them. So just wanted to make a public comment about that since all of us have been contacted. Okay, any other board comments? David?
So just 2 things. One is, as Cindy highlighted at the beginning of the meeting, we are moving to a non-workshop format, 2 board meetings a month, generally the 2nd and 4th Wednesday of the month. And with that, the public comment period, the 3 minutes at the beginning remains, but we are inviting residents to speak to agenda items if their point is relevant to that agenda item, as we have been doing in workshops for the last several years.
And I would just to comment on that, I'm very excited about that because we will open it more up for comments, but being on a hybrid meeting, we'll be on Zoom. So you'll have to raise your hand or make a chat comment and we'll have our moderator who is helping make sure that we get you called on. So.
And within that, we're within a 2-hour period.
Yes.
So we manage our time so that we will end on time or early.
That's our plan. Yes.
The other issue is just that July 3rd, when we have the parade, that is at 9 o'clock and CROA is walking.
We are.
Some of us from CROA are walking.
Who's
And
joining us?
all of
made
us,
our
and
signs.
whomever is walking will be representing the entire board.
Are you?
Maybe we'll just have your picture and hold it on a.
I'll be there.
No, I'll be out of town.
But anyway, so at least some of us, at least, how convenient.
I was supposed to be in Costa Rica, but the second meeting made me change that.
But just, I'm excited about the parade. JR has promised no rain and cloudy and cool. We're moving this to.
Well, it's in the morning.
No, it's
so we
good.
have a
It's
good-
good. The parades are always fun.
Yeah.
Hot as all get out, but generally, even at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm so
It's in-
glad we're
it's in
done
the
by
morning,
10.
So we should be better off on the rain, but it will be hot.
And we'll have a nice festivities that evening
Yes. 80s
with
band.
the Journey tribute band called the band?
Scarab, yeah.
The what?
Scarab.
Scarab. Okay, whatever. whatever they're called.
Cynthia,
But it'll be fun.
Speaking of that really quick,
Yes,
have
Kat.
we clarified, I've had some residents go ahead and actually bring up, oh, there's fireworks going on and that topic, once again. Are
Not
we
mu-
doing what we've done in the past, which is coordinate with the county and the CDD for the signs to go ahead and express no fireworks
Hmm.
to prevent that
We
crowd
haven't
control? I
talked-
don't know any of that, but
We have not talked about that, and we have in the past done that. We didn't do it last year because it was
well, it was-
COVID.
We weren't
we
doing
did do
anything last
something,
year.
I think, last year.
Did we do signs
We
last
did.
year?
I think we
I
did it for
think
Halloween.
we
That was
definitely did
Halloween.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
thought we
remember
did
doing
something
it for
on the
4th of July, but it was,
If people show up for fireworks, they'll
Sorry
watch
for
a
that.
TV.
should we
just
put
be-
up those signs? Who normally takes care of that? JR, do you take care of that, or who normally takes care of that?
The last time they put up signs for when there was no fireworks, that was CDD because it was the actual, you actually put the letters, they weren't the digital signs.
Yeah, we,
I
did
think
we,
did
we got,
digital,
they-
the
who
orange.
has a digital sign? They have it, don't they?
It's the counties.
The county
We
sign?
coordinated, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe
Um,
it was the
can
commissioner,
we
yeah, that set it up.
coordinate, can we raise that question? Because it's probably a good idea, because people assume that we will be having fireworks for the 4th, which we will be
And we
not.
made
Our-
the advertise signs
Our
on
fireworks will be in
signs.
November.
Yes.
Oh, that's right, that was for New Year's Eve, I think.
Yeah.
Like 2 or 3
Okay.
years ago.
So
The
if
one
we
with
can
the-
look
with
into
the
that,
letters.
Susanna, JR, whoever
remember
wants
that by
to
word drive.
say that again.
No, we were just talking about
Okay.
that, that's fine.
Good point, because again, yeah, we could have people coming thinking we are. Okay, and any other? Nope, any other board comments?
Thank you for an efficient meeting.
7:17, pretty awesome.
Because pencil isn't here.
That's.
It is
that's an-
recorded.
That's, yeah.
I'm just pointing
I think
out the
that's it.
obvious.
That's obvious.
It's not me.
All right, and I look forward to continued efficiency. And again, thank you for the people that are on Zoom, especially people who are not local that are on Zoom. Help us out, Steve and Susanna. We appreciate you jumping on. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.
Bye, everybody.